Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hello MJ traders, we're going to start it off with Canadian names today, doing some standing analysis, and you can imagine I'm wearing a funny hat if you want to. So we're going to look at all the major names. I added in SPR here because it made an awesome equilibrium bull break. But we'll start it off with CGC, and it's still very clear that we have a wall of resistance to be watching. 48.70, 63, 66, 52, unable to break this resistance. And if you look at CURA on the US side of things, we have a very similar wall of resistance for the lead Canadian name and the lead US name, similar action going on. Another thing I want to make note of, if you're following commodities, the dollar has made a significant bull break on the monthly, weekly, daily time frame over the last few days. That means the dollar has spiked in a big way. We're up well over 1% in just 3 days. That spike in the dollar relative to the Canadian dollar means the differences between your dual listed tickers on Canadian exchanges and US exchanges is going to be magnified. And it's important now more than ever to be watching both charts because you're going to get faked out otherwise. If you are looking at only Canadian names, you're going to see bull breaks of resistance, and the US names are not going to be making those same bull breaks. HEXO is a perfect example. HEXO today was blue sky breakout Canadian side, and on the US side, we were still 1% below that all-time high. So just be aware that the difference in the currencies is why we're seeing these new, bigger differences in these dual listed charts. So for CGC, it's a daily inside bar, volume dropping off, and it's going to be make or break day either tomorrow or Monday. So if we see a bear break, and really I'm just looking at the 4 hour for clarity. This is a 4 hour tightening pattern. As we said in the video yesterday, it's either an hourly cup and handle or a 4 hour equilibrium. And as soon as we broke 47.99 today, that told us it's a 4 hour equilibrium. So right now, I'm looking at our high of 48.75 using extended hours, our low of 46.67, and our lower high was hit at 46.66, 48.66 that is, and we haven't really clearly set a higher low just yet. 47.50 is an important support, absolutely, but we could really hold anything above 46.64, and I would still call that a 4 hour high or low. The odds will shift. If we see a bear break of the low of today, the odds that we bear break this 4 hour pattern will become more likely. If we can hold 47.50 tomorrow, the odds of a bull break, either tomorrow or next week, will be more likely. So the low of today is important. The daily inside bar is important, but I am watching the 46.64 support as the most important level for me in the short term. ACB still not doing anything, still patiently waiting. We did see support hold by a penny. And we know that without a break of 923 and 930 on the US side of things, it doesn't matter what the bulls are doing because it's not proving anything. Bulls have to break those resistance levels to get me and many other traders interested. And until that happens, we're just patiently waiting. So we are looking healthy as far as the pullback goes. There's no red flags. There's no big bear volume, anything like that. We're looking for a daily higher low to form. And then we need to turn around and break 923. If you want more risk, more reward, you're going to enter a 923 break and just ensure that the 930 break happens after it. If you want to be more conservative and patient and wait till the bulls really prove it, you're going to act on the 930 break. APHA. So want to be very careful about interpreting these videos because bias comes into play. And I'm just referring to an individual on Reddit who watched my video yesterday where I said, APHA, a break is imminent. We have 2 daily inside bars in extremely tight range. And he posted, breakout imminent. And then everybody got all excited saying, wait, did he really say that? Breakout imminent? Finally, I've been waiting. No, I never said out. A break is imminent. With equilibriums, we don't determine, we don't predict which direction's going to break. We can say a break is imminent, and then we patiently wait to see does support break or does resistance break. In this instance, support broke, and we're looking down at the low of the reaction, 755. So we have now seen a lower high on the daily time frame every single day for the last 8 days in a row. That's a pattern that has to break. If that pattern doesn't break, the bears keep their complete control. If we break 755 tomorrow, we're going to be entering daily oversold conditions, and the next support level that we're going to be looking down at is 7 psychological. So bears still in full control of APHA. CRON. So CRON's not doing anything except grinding against the 12-period exponential resistance, just like CGC did, but CGC got over thanks to the news, upgrade and news. And that's not the case for CRON. It does not have that. So we are rejecting now. This is the 6th time we've rejected, 7th time we've rejected. Still very tight, not a whole lot going on, but we have to see a very clear break over 1717 to try and turn these exponential moving averages into support. This bounce that now has taken place over the last 5 days is not impressive at all. The weekly time frame is a potential bear flag. This is the kind of scenario where if this chart does not make a bull move up over $18, the odds of a bear flag on the weekly are going to remain intact. And right now we have higher lows 3 days in a row, so we can just zoom in and look at these tightening ranges. If we take off extended hours, make it a little bit more clear. But I'm just looking at 1614 as the low, high of 1717, higher low of 1628, lower high of 1679, higher low of 1634, and anything under 1679 is just a lower high. So tight, multiple daily inside bars, but the exponential resistance is my guide, and it's just very easy where I can say if the bulls don't break that level, they don't prove anything to us. TLRY, same thing. Just not doing anything for the bulls. Clearly struggling at $52. So we have traded sideways 4 days in a row now. And we can see we did get a bear break today with no follow through. 50, make that 49.76 was support. And I take that back. Actually, we did hold it. So it is a clear equilibrium. Low of 47.68, high of 52 essentially. And a higher low of 49.76. We held that by 2 pennies. We did get a bull break yesterday with 0 follow through, which is a bit of a red flag. We broke that resistance by 13 cents with no follow through. So we have to see a convincing break of 52 or a convincing bear break of 49.76 to break this tight range. And it's the same thing. The bulls have to prove something to us. The burden of proof for both CRON and TLRY, which are in prolonged downtrends on the daily, burden of proof is on the bulls because the bears are comfortable with where we stand right now. HEXO on the daily chart. So blue sky breakout in Canada, and we came over 1% shy here in the US. Daily higher low every day, 6 days in a row. If we lose that pattern, we just need to form a daily higher low of healthy support. So if we get a bear break of 709 tomorrow, we zoom out to the daily and watch for the higher low to form. And if we hold 709 tomorrow, the odds of a new all-time high on the US side of things will be high. 724 and 733 are those resistances. And HEXO is quickly establishing itself as a tier 2 leader in the Canadian MJ space with the price action over the last 2 weeks. OGI, we have our low of 840. Our high of the bounce is up at 919. And now we have to form a higher low compared to 840. We have to see a clear trend change with a higher low and a higher high. Declining volume every single day, 7 days in a row. Watch for a break in that pattern and watch to see which direction that break is associated with. That gives us clues. So we need a daily higher low to form, but there's no sign of that happening yet. The clues that our daily higher low has formed is a change in the hourly trend. If the bulls can hold 878 tomorrow first thing and break 890, we will have an hourly trend change. If we break 878 support, we look to the daily and say our higher low has not been established yet, and we'll still be watching that 840 level from there. TRST, daily inside bar today, pretty much a double top. Technically not an inside bar by 1 penny, but that's close enough for me to call it one. If we break the low of today tomorrow, 996, that means we have to form a higher low compared to 882, and we have to change the daily trend with a higher low and a higher high. So we already broke the lower highs. That's step number 1. It's a good sign for a potential trend change, but we have to confirm that trend change with a higher low and higher high to see that follow through, which would tell us, well, I was going to say that our weekly higher low has been established, but I had forgotten that TRST lost that weekly uptrend. So at this point, if we do change that daily trend, we're going to zoom out to the weekly and say, well, anything on the weekly under 1348 is just a lower high. It's going to be a while before we change that weekly trend. But step number one step at a time, have to change the daily trend first. VFF, 4-hour equilibrium, is the one to be watching here. So it's been cooperating in terms of looking at our tightening equilibrium range. Why can we anticipate an equilibrium? Because after periods of high volatility, and that short attack was certainly high volatility, that's when equilibriums most likely form. So low of the dump, high of the bounce, higher low, which was the low of yesterday. Lower high was set at the double top, 1697, 1698. And now we're looking for a higher low tomorrow compared to 1459. If we drop down with hourly oversold conditions, and I want to use the US ticker because the RSI levels are a bit different due to extended hours, but if we were to drop down, it doesn't look likely that we're going to get hourly oversold tomorrow unless things get ugly. But if we get 15-minute oversold RSI and a bear break of 1160, and we drop down into the low $11 range, that's when we start looking for the higher low to form compared to 1077. So 4-hour equilibrium most clear on VFF as the range continues to tighten and the bulls need to show up and hold the low of yesterday's support to stay within this pattern. T-God, so a bit of consolidation as well, inside bar, very similar setup to TRST in the sense that we have an inside bar, and if it breaks bearish, then we're pulling back on the daily to form the higher low. Anything above 390 would be that higher low. And this is that inverse head and shoulders pattern I drew in the video yesterday, where we have our left shoulder, our head. We were unable to break 447 resistance. Anything under 447 is just a daily low or high. And now we need to pull back and form a higher low, ideally holding $4, and then break 435 and 447 in the same go. So if we start tomorrow with a bear break of the low of today, 417, we start scouting in the low $4 range for that hour or that daily higher low to try and form. Have to change that trend on the daily with a higher low and higher high to give us the weekly higher low. The weekly uptrend is still intact here, even though we pulled back very significantly from the high of 2019. Extraction plays, labs. So labs is an equilibrium with our high, low, lower, high. We're looking for the daily higher low to be set. Have we changed the hourly trend? The answer is no, not yet. So we have to see a bull break tomorrow over 587 to change the hourly trend. If that's the case, we'll say, all right, our daily higher low is now 560, and we're heading back up to 632 resistance. If we do not change the hourly trend and we break 560 support, we zoom out to the daily and say, okay, we have not formed our daily higher low yet, and we're going to be looking perhaps under 550 for that higher low to form. So hourly trend has to change for our daily higher low to be clearly established. NEPT, big significant pullback today from the all-time high. And the harder you run up, the quicker you pull back. That's the way it works. And we close near the low of the day, very weak. And if we see a break of 398 first thing tomorrow, the next support level is nowhere nearby. Again, we did not establish support on the way up. And after $4, which I highlighted as the most important support in yesterday's video, we're looking at 396 and then all the way down to 386. So daily consolidation underway. And by definition, we would call this a little daily higher low at $4, but we're still going to call this a healthy uptrend if the bulls can hold the daily 12-period exponential support. This is the kind of scenario where, as an analyst, we get a little bit of leeway, and you might say the daily uptrend is lost, but for me, this is normal healthy consolidation so far after the size of the bull run that we saw. If we saw another big red day tomorrow and we pulled back under 380, I would certainly change my tune. But at this point, just one day of pullback. And if we look at it on the 2-day time frame to smooth out that little daily bull flag, it's going to look a bit different. Not the way I want it to look, but you get the idea. Look at this 2-day chart. Pretty much no consolidation from 283, and now consolidation finally underway. So we'll see if we get hourly oversold conditions. Usually, after a significant bull move, hourly oversold conditions, we get a solid bounce from the first time we get there. And we would have to drop down probably into the low 380s to be hourly oversold tomorrow. VGW, congrats bulls. Beautiful follow through. Blue sky breakout. And I believe VGW stood out to us a few days ago as a lead bull. And I remember some other people in other extraction plays weren't really pumped about that fact, but we're in a very clear uptrend on VGW with bull flag after bull flag being confirmed. This is the third daily bull flag in a row. Highest bull volume that we've seen ever. And it closed at the all-time high. So on the hourly time frame, anything above 412 keeps the hourly uptrend intact. So the bulls have space on the hourly time frame. They certainly have space on the daily time frame. 450 psychological will be the next resistance level, and then 460. That's a strong daily uptrend. And I believe we did get something after hours on VGW. Don't have my news up right now. Might have been an upgrade. Check out what happened for VGW after hours. That would obviously only help the bulls. SPRW, beautiful daily equilibrium. Not SPRW, SPR. So it was just a real nice tightening range, 108. The low was 69. Higher or lower high was 93. Higher low was 75. Lower high was 90. Higher low, 79. Bull break initially was about 5 tops at 86. And then the follow-through confirmation was 90 breaking. And then from those 2 resistances breaking, we went up a solid 11%. So if you acted on 86, you saw a 15% move to the high of the day. And if you acted on 90, we saw a 11% move to the high of the day. Look at the volume. So when you see an equilibrium tighten up, the volume declines. That's the normal pattern. And the spike, if we were to see this bull break without a notable volume spike, we have to disregard it because the bulls are not proving it with volume. But they're certainly proving it here. And we're now looking up at resistance of 101, 108, and then the all-time high of 118. Hourly uptrend has not started consolidating yet. So when we start consolidating on the hourly, we'll form a higher low, and that will be our new key support level. But we can see every hourly candlestick was a higher low today. So we have not started consolidating on the hourly, and you might be saying, what about that big volume climax candle and the big red candle? That's consolidation. Yes, it absolutely is, but it's keeping up a pattern of a higher low every single candlestick, and it's not a distinct clear top and pull back to form a higher low. It's not a clear enough shift of momentum on this time frame to be looking for the higher low. It is a support level now at 92, but I would not call that our hourly higher low. CXXI, don't know what. So CXXI has to change the daily trend, and it's getting a little bit of a red flag, the amount of the pullback. So the bounce was from the low of 141 up to the high of 180. That's a 39-cent bounce. And to this point, we've given back 29 cents of that. So we've given back 2/3 of the bull move, and we're still not sure if we formed a daily higher low yet. So the bulls have to change the hourly trend back in their favor. We're in a very clear hourly downtrend. And if we see a bear break of 141, it's just a lower high and lower low on the daily. Look how important that is. That 141 level is very important. It's a triple bottom of support. And if that breaks, we zoom out to the weekly chart and we'll say our weekly uptrend will be lost at that point if we break 140 or 141, I should say. So it's time for the bulls to show up. They need to show up tomorrow and form this daily higher low and break 180 early next week to change this daily trend and keep the weekly uptrend intact. Otherwise, we zoom out to the monthly and a monthly equilibrium is on watch. And last, we'll wrap it up with N. Congrats to the bulls for follow through. This is the kind of play where I would only be looking for a day trade in the sense that the break of 84 cents was a clear signal for continuation. So if you enter at 84 breaking, let's say you get infilled at 85. If I made that play, I would be selling in the next 5-10 minutes for a 5% gain. Just lock it in. It's too extended for me to be comfortable. Congrats to the bulls that held overnight and did get some more follow through. The hourly uptrend is still intact at this point. The most important support level is 82. If 82 breaks from here, we can pretty much say top of this bull move is done for now. Daily consolidation needed. If we hold 82 tomorrow, that's the bulls keeping control. So that's the line in the sand for me. And as far as resistance goes, it's 98 and then $1 psychological. That's where we stand. Hope you're all well. Do some good things. We'll check back in over the weekend. And we'll throw in a couple more tickers into each video. See you then.